BBC News with Sue Montgomery. The search warrant executed on Donald Trump's Florida home on Monday has been unsealed by a judge. It shows the search by FBI agents was partly based on suspicions of violations of the U.S. Espionage Act related to the illegal retention of sensitive defense documents. Chichi Uzundu in Washington explains.
The thing that has caught the attention of many people is that there are several boxes titled miscellaneous secret documents, miscellaneous top secret documents, and various classified TS and SCI documents. Now, TS stands for top secret and SCI stands for sensitive compartment information, which is understood to be incredibly grave to US security.
Mr. Trump said all the documents seized were declassified and placed in secure storage. Writing on his social media platform, he said the FBI agents could have had the material any time they wanted, without, as he put it, playing politics and breaking into his home. Police in New York State have named the suspect detained after the attack on the award-winning author Salman Rushdie as Hadi Matar from New Jersey. Sir Salman was stabbed at the start of a lecture in New York State and is undergoing surgery. He's been the target of Islamist death threats since the 1980s. Frank Gardner has more details.
Sir Salman Rushdie has long been a controversial figure, a highly acclaimed author and champion of free speech, but also a living target for extremist groups and individuals who considered that his work was blasphemous against Islam. 34 years may have passed since the publication of his controversial novel Satanic Verses, yet his name continues to provoke high emotions in some quarters. As recently as 2016, Iran's state-backed media increased the bounty on Sir Salman's head by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And yet, despite this, security at the book fair he was attending was almost non-existent.
At least 10 people have been killed in a mass shooting in Montenegro. Police say a man opened fire in a residential part of the city of Cetinje. Our Balkans correspondent Guy Deloni reports.
Montenegro's Prime Minister Dritan Abazovic described the shooting as an unprecedented tragedy for this tiny country. President Milo Djukanovic said he was deeply shaken by the terrible tragedy in Cetinje. Police say a 34-year-old man first shot a family who were tenants in his house, killing 2 children and their mother. Then he went outside and shot more than a dozen people on the street, apparently at random. He also shot at police when they arrived. The gunman died during the exchange of fire. The government has declared 3 days of mourning.
World News from the BBC. The US House of Representatives, with its Democratic majority, has approved a landmark bill that's seen as the biggest investment in climate change in American history. The $430 billion package will also lower prescription drug prices for the elderly. The House voted along party lines to pass the measure. The Senate approved the legislation on Sunday. Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio has said that this week's anti-government protests were a violent attempt to overthrow the government. He denied the demonstrations in which 6 policemen and a number of protesters were killed were against the high cost of living. From Freetown, Rhoda Odiambo.
Speaking on national television, President Maada Bio said police officers who lost their lives during the protest would be given a civic funeral. As for the civilians, he sent his condolences to their families. He said those behind the protest would face the full force of the law. More than 100 people have been arrested. The president said that his government had done a lot to address the high cost of living, but ordinary people have a different opinion. West African regional bodies have condemned the excessive use of force by police officers during Wednesday's protests.
The political standoff in Iraq is deepening as an Iranian-backed political alliance has begun its own sit-in in Baghdad, 2 weeks after supporters of the powerful cleric Muqtada al-Sadr stormed parliament. Both factions have set up rival encampments in the Iraqi capital, with the supporters of al-Sadr inside the Green Zone and their opponents outside. The Paraguayan Vice President Hugo Velázquez says he'll resign after the US accused him of being involved in significant corruption. He's also renouncing his candidacy for president. The State Department has sanctioned him for allegedly bribing a public official.